Hi, for this video what we're going to do is we're going to solve a compound inequality. This one has the word or in between, which means that either one or the other. So either this equation on the left has to be true or the equation on the right has to be true. Both of them do not have to be true. In this case, when we get to the solution, you can see that it cannot both of them be true. So with this one, what we would do is we would start by solving either one of the equations first. I'm just going to start on the left. The 4's cancel out, so I'm left with negative 4x is less than. Remember that anytime you have different signs, since the 40 is negative and the 4 is positive, remember that you always subtract them. Different means difference. If you think different, different, subtraction. So we would end up with 36 and then keep the sign of the larger number. So since 40 is larger than 4, as far as absolute value goes, you would keep the negative sign. Remember, our goal is to get x by itself, so we would have to divide both sides by negative 4. And when you divide by a negative, don't forget that you always have to change the inequality because it changes the direction. In order for the statement to be true, the inequality must change. So negative 36 divided by negative 4 ends up being positive 9. So our first solution is that x could be greater than 9, and if it is, we would use the equation on the left. For the second one, what we would do is we would solve this equation in much the same way. We would just use the numbers in here. So our first step is to subtract the 10 from both sides. So we have 9x is less than negative 9. Again, they're different, so we subtract 10 minus 1 is 9 and keep the sign of the larger absolute value. We would then divide both sides by positive 9. Since I'm dividing by a positive, the inequality does not change. Even though the top number is negative, that does not matter. It's just the denominator. So we would say that x is less than negative 1 is our other solution. So if we set this up on a number line, we can say that all values that are less than negative 1, we use an open circle at negative 1 because it does not include it. Or all values greater than 9, again, we use an open circle because it does not include it. If it had the equal sign underneath, that's when you go ahead and fill it in. If you need to write your answer in set notation, you would just write it as x such that x is less than negative 1 or x is greater than 9. And if you needed to write it in interval notation, you would start from left to right. So we would see that negative infinity is the lowest that it goes. It stops at negative 1, but it does not include it, so we would use a parenthesis. Or it can be 9 to positive infinity. So again, with this, depending upon what level you're at, if you're like in an Algebra 1 course, you'd probably stop here. In an Algebra 2 or higher course, you'd probably use set notation or interval notation. All three of them mean the same thing. It's just different ways of writing the same thing. As always, thanks for watching. Please continue to check out all of my other video content. And if there are topics that you need me to cover that you do not see, please just let me know.